When it comes to gaming, most gamers are often interested in the developers and the publishers. It is fair to say that most people look at these two to determine the types of games and the financial model that each game will follow. However, the determined title of indie may not be a great one for companies owned by shareholders. While certain groups may not have the title of publisher, they still take on the financial responsibilities of a publisher. The only difference is that they don't publish games. And today I will be explaining how developers at Digital Extremes can create games beloved by its community without owning a single percentage of the company. And we are also going to be taking a look at why the results are quite different for studios like Bungie. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the no-clip interview at DE and still have questions on why I say they don't own a single percentage of the company. Today's breakdown of who owns what and who owns Digital Extremes will come from the leyou Technologies yearly publication and other sources. As most of you know, in the early years of Dark Sector, the studio struggled for a breakthrough in survival. This is the challenge for several studios. For some, they decide to sign with a publisher to ensure constant flow of revenue, and as a result, some have aggressive monetization of their games, some will sell merchandise, and some studios will decide to go public. When going public, a studio can decide to sell shares to anyone willing to buy, but the most common is to sell a share of the studio to another company. This is where leyou Technologies and Perfect World Entertainment comes in. In short, leyou Technologies own 97% of Digital Extremes, while Perfect World Entertainment owns 3% of the studio. While it is commonly known and publicized that DE staffers own 39 or 49% of the studio, the 2016 financial publication shows otherwise and shows to us that leyou completed the acquisition of the company in May 2016. So how are the developers at DE able to sustain the community and the ethics in their development, since most gamers are quite skeptical of Chinese company or any Asian company buying out anything? The answer lies in what is known as creative control. In some contracts, the party selling often adds a clause that lets them maintain creative control as long as they meet a specific financial requirement or financial goal. The answer to this is in the results from 2017. This is where the company gained a total profit of $110.7 million. Creative control means that the lead developers of the studio can decide what is best for their community and how they service the community. This also means that they can choose how to monetize the system as well, as long as it makes enough money. This is how DE was able to create a game that most of the community loves without much outcry. This acquisition, however, also has its own drawbacks. Selling 100% of a company means you are sometimes at the mercy of the holding company. Due to other loopholes and clauses in place, a developing team can be put in a tough spot, and this is something that was quite evident in the direction of the game after May of 2016. While several updates in Warframe has been delayed and pushed to a different year or a different month, one thing never changes: its schedule. The 3-month release of Prime Access and accessories is never shifted or ever delayed. The reason for this is due to the financial agreements between the two parties. This is also one of the downsides of a free-to-play model. Everything else that is free can take a backseat to ensure that guaranteed paid items are made on time. This is also part of the reasons why focus seems to shift from veterans or difficult content to a series of content easily accessible to new players and average gamers. Remember, new players are the ones who will spend the most. Average and veteran players already know ways around things. While a company may have the desire to do things at a certain time, financial obligations from holding companies or shareholders may affect those things, but it also means the employees will get a bonus or a raise if they meet a certain goal. Now, when you look at studios like Bungie, contractual agreements are more on a partnership level for the set amount of years. This means that it is a lot strict and gives less freedom to the developers when it comes to monetization or the financial model. Because Activision cannot hold Bungie for more than 10 years, the company must try to obtain as much from them before the time runs out. This means Activision contract will have a tighter control on the transaction and the monetization model. They will decide in most cases how the game is monetized. Now, I hope this short video gives you a clear understanding on who owns what, and of course gives you an example of how creative control works with publishers. I also hope that now you know who is an indie studio and who isn't. So a lot of times when people tell you Warframe is indie, they are not quite indie. However, because of the clauses in place, they are still able to deliver quality content to the communities. Now, if you would like to read more on this, and of course take a look at the leyou financial holdings, I will leave a link in the description below to see where I got all my information from. This is DA signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one.